I'm Vice Chair Kipukai Kualii, and I'm here today to give you the update of our council meeting for the Roundup for Council Chair Rapozo, who couldn't be with us today. So we had a pretty quick meeting. It was our committee meetings today. We started with the Public Works and Veteran Services Committee, and their one item was Bill 2960, and this bill was an amendment relating to sewers. And in this bill, we're looking to give a 100% exemption on the sewer connection charges for housing, affordable housing projects, and that's under the purview of our housing director, as long as it conforms to our provisions in our housing policy. And then also a 50% exemption, so one half off of the sewer connection charge and that first 100% exemption is for the adjusted medium income up to 140% of AMI. And then the 50% is for the higher level up to 180% of AMI. So that was passed unanimously out of committee. Planning committee just had minutes. And then in our housing and intergovernmental relations committee, we had an update from our housing director. We try to get these updates periodically, maybe every 6 to 9 months, because there's always a lot going on with our housing programs. So housing director basically gave us a review of the basic structure and primary programs, whether it's rental assistance, development, homelessness, and then their administrative and accounting work. It did share that over 50% of their staff and programming is funded by other than county funding. He shared about our Housing Choice Vouchers program, the Section 8. In 2015, we had 602 vouchers issued for a total of 5.6 million. And then between 2020 and 2021, we went up from 694 at 8.5 million to 2021, 850 vouchers at 11 million. That significant jump was because we went ahead and did a strategy of just pushing to issue more vouchers, knowing that it was beyond our limit, but also knowing that the federal HUD program would recognize our need and then increase our funding. So we're now at that higher level. And so in 2025, the projected is 831 vouchers at a total of 12.3 million. So we are trying to maximize how many people we can help with our HUD Section 8 program. And that's really important too, because we do have a wait list of 3,000 people on our wait list for the HUD Section 8 vouchers. Then he went over some of our recently successful developed housing unit projects. So 3 of them in Lima Ola is the Lima Ola Supportive Housing, which is like Kealaula, the second one, Kealaula in Lihue, next to the KEO and the water department there. 32 units, studio and 1-bedroom apartments, completely online, completely occupied. Also our 45-unit workforce rental, also fully occupied, fully landscaped now too, looking really good. I actually drove by there a couple weeks ago. And then the senior project, the senior affordable rentals, that's fully online now, fully occupied. I think it was like 60 units. And then lastly, still part of Lima Ola, the single family homes project. So I think we have about 16 built, sold, occupied, 8 built in the process of being sold, and then another 8 about to be completed. So these are all single family homes sold to people off of our home buyers list with 120 50% AMI or lower. So our home buyers list, anyone can get on our home buyers list. There's no income level requirements. When the projects do come available, though, there may be specific income levels with each particular project. Like in Limaola, it was 120%. He did share with us some of the information on the Waimea 400 property out in Waimea. So they've been through 4 community meetings, so they pretty much have a plan that they're shared. Very exciting. I think a total of 393 units of all types, single family, multifamily, affordable rentals as well, and then for purchase as well. So similar to Limaola. So that's 38 to 42 of the initial 400 acres is being dedicated to affordable housing to this part of the project, which was required based on the funding as well. And then out in Kilauea, the Kilauea town expansion, just over 50 acres that the county acquired across Anainaho and behind the new commercial area in Kilauea now. There's also going to be an area outside of the 50 acres on the perimeter, the northern side, that will be dedicated for a roadway, I think. And then that will provide access from the highway to this commercial area in Kilauea, and also they can use that highway access to get back to the Kilauea Lighthouse. So then it'll prevent, non-residents perhaps from using the residential neighborhood road. Yeah, so 344 units. There is one more community meeting coming up on July 31st to finalize the plan there. And it's called the Concept Plan for Kilauea Namahana Community. So Namahana, the name they're using of I think when you look out to the mountains from the plain there. And that's also the name of the new charter school right there in the back next to this property and beyond the post office there in Kilauea. He also shared a potential new project still being planned, working with community in Puhi, the Puhi Passive Park right up against the highway. They're calling it Kahua Ho'olu. That could be up to 60 units, rental project, again, affordable. Studios, 1 and 2 bedroom units. So he shared a preliminary concept image, but it's still in planning. The big thing about this is the county's contribution to this project will be the installation of a sewer line that comes from the back road in the back where Chief's Kamakahele School is, and it comes through the main road there in the Puhi subdivision there, and comes to the front area by the highway where this project would be developed. And then ultimately that new sewer line will be able to connect that whole subdivision to the wastewater system. So that's a big deal, and it's probably years down the road yet, but that's exciting to know that many of our homes there that currently have cesspools, actually my parents' home there in Puhi too, will be able to eventually come online if this all happens. He did share the project right here in Lihui on the corner of just across the county building there where the old Central Pacific Bank was, and Mokehana Travel, all of that. Well, if you see now, it's all been completely removed, demolished, so it's flat. There's going to be a 4-story building, Rice Street Apartments, developed there. The 3 upper levels will be 66 rental apartments, and then the first floor will be a commercial space. I think since it's right on the corner there too, it'll be right up to the street, so it'll be like, sidewalk cafes and what have you. It'll be kind of an interesting new look for our town core with that type of development. Of course, the coolest thing about our presentation today was all of the different pictures and conceptual drawings and stuff that were shared. So you should go and check out the meeting. He did share the Oahe Ridge project, which is happening just across the water department, and Burger King and Taco Bell there in Lihue next to the, I think it's Aloha Church. So that's being developed by Mark Development, and in phase one, 96 one, two, and three bedroom units, and it's all for the low income, 60% AMI and below. He shared the Kaiolino project in Port Allen. Three different buildings, 25 units in each. Two units are completed. The third unit was the unit that actually was burnt down prior to full completion of construction. So they're in the process, working with insurance and what have you, to get that building built again. But the two buildings with 25 units each are fully in place. You see it on the hillside there, the cliffs overlooking Port Allen right there, um, and fully occupied. He did share, one of the council members asked about the homelessness program and how it works, like if there are waiting lists and who do we give priority to. Um, so while there isn't specifically a waiting list, the folks, our homelessness coordinator and her assistant, are constantly working with community, with the nonprofits, excuse me, with the nonprofits and the actual, homeless folks in the community to address, them finding a place. And they prioritize for these programs because, there's only a limited amount of units. Um, they give preference to families with minor children, kupuna, and then victims of domestic violence. That's how it's worked so far with the Kealala project there in Lihue, and they're following that as well. They do work with the nonprofits in our community, the annual point in time count each year. They also utilize the coordinated entry system, the CS system, which is federally mandated in many cases, and that basically ranks the needs of the homeless folks, houseless folks, by greatest need. And then obviously they're helping coordinate with the nonprofits to provide um, the services, direct services to folks. One exciting thing too was he shared the homeless shelter redevelopment concept design. Our homeless shelter has been in place for I think nearly 40 years or over 40 years now, and it's well overdue for a redesign and some investment. The the shelter is in an old school building that was given to the county by the state, and it needs a lot of work and updating. And with the new plans, the concept that was shared, they're putting in new buildings, 2 stories. As far as emergency units, where they had like dormitory style, a men's unit, a women's unit, um, they're going from 38 units to 108 units, so more than tripling the volume of how many people they can serve. And they're using smaller micro apartments with 2 to 4 beds in each. I think one of the things with during COVID, the shelter actually had to shut down because of the way it was this shared spacing. Um, the the new shelter will also have transitional housing units, and they currently have 7, and it's going to go up to 25. So the volume alone and the amounts of people they can serve is going to go way up. And I think the concept of giving more private space, because what COVID showed was people all congregating together in an open space, was not good. Will not only provide that kind of safety, but I think it'll provide what people really want. Obviously, families and people with kids and stuff, they kind of want their own private space, right? Even if it's just temporary as a homeless shelter. So the nice thing is that we'll be able to do that. Of course, this is years in the making. It'll take partnership and going after different funds and what have you. Then he also, at the end, talked a little bit about some of the newer initiatives that they're working on. So the hope is to acquire, and I know they're in discussions with Grow Farm, to acquire lands in the greater Lihue area to potentially do another master planned affordable housing project, similar to what's in Limaola and Elele, and what they're working on for Waimea, and also what they're working on for Kilauea. So different types of units for different levels of income. He talked a little bit about, and I'm actually going to want to meet with him further to find out more about this, a residential deed restriction program and how numerous mountain resort communities in the Rocky Mountains are already doing this, and it becomes embedded in the deed of the property that the property remains affordable in perpetuity. And then also about community land trusts. They're looking to establish that to also hold the leasehold properties and also, again, to keep the properties affordable in perpetuity. So he concluded with the overview, the totals. He said, so everything he presented to us represented 1,800 units under development and just coming online. So that's quite significant. I think in the past we've been sort of used to just a few hundred here and there, and knowing the greater need that was like far from it. We still have much greater need. One of the studies estimated that we need 5,000 units by 2030. So with 1,800, that's not quite half, but it's a lot more than just a few hundred here and there, 100 here and there. So we're on our way. Good work is happening. I think it's really validating the fact that this council and prior councils have found it important to invest where we can, funding, and then what little county lands we do have into affordable housing. So we thank the housing folks and congratulated them and asked them to keep going and that we're there to support them. So it was a very thorough report, and you can see all the great pictures and everything if you watch our council meeting when it's rebroadcast on Hoike. So that was today's meeting from July 9th, and then this is our wrap up with the roundup for Council Chair Rapozo and myself. And we'd like to thank Hoike and Roger and everyone that makes this happen week after week. So aloha, thank you, mahalo.